Hello, everybody. How we doing? I had to change the layout. I'm sorry. It doesn't look like it normally does because Chase is away for the holidays today. You can blame him. We got sound? Yeah, we got sound. Hello, everybody. Hello, Space Cables. Hello, Mr. Dixie Mech / Omnitype soon. How are you doing today? How you doing, guys?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Doing great. Doing great.
Hello, everybody in chat. Hello, Ink. Thank you guys for the subs, by the way. I appreciate it. This is going to be our last Keebcast of the year, technically. So we're ending off with a bang. So that's going to be interesting. Actually, that's weird to think about. End of the year, you know? End of another year of keyboards. Just starting another one. A lot of cool things happen this year, I think. I hope. But if you guys don't already know who Dixie Mech / Omnitype is going to be, vendor in the community. Has ran some really cool sets. One that I regret not jumping on for some reason, which was Botanical. And sad to see the aftermarket prices on those. But he's done some really great stuff like 8008, which you guys can kind of see on my desk and little desk cam there. This is running as well. I believe it's still running right now, right?
Yes, for 3 more days. Yeah, 4 more days.
4 more days, end of the month. Hello, everybody. And we have Mr. Space Cables, who you guys are used to seeing. He got his hat finally, so he's very happy today. Finally, got his Team Liquid hat. Yeah, I decided not to wear mine today just to piss him off.
But wow, they didn't send me one.
Yeah,
I got a desk pad and shirts, but I didn't get no hat.
I think it was just me and Chase.
Flex this. I actually haven't posted on Instagram. Thank you, Liquid. We got this sweater. All right, we have the sweatshirt. We have the shirt.
The sweatshirt's so thick. It's like 100 pounds.
It is. It's huge. It's like a carpet.
I think me and Chase didn't get this, by the way. So you guys have the sweaters. We don't. We have hats. Lots of hats.
Wait, you have lots? So I got 2 hats. I got this one and another one. I wanted to also get the hat that just says Liquid on top. The dad hat. I really like that one, but it's sold out, I think. So there's that.
Yeah. Wait,
there's that.
No, guys, this is not the correct orientation of my cam. 1 second. Let me flip it. Hold on. It's gonna bother me now. All right.
What's your affiliation with Liquid? Liquid's nice.
Yeah, they're good
we're
people.
Just friends with them.
Dudes.
At least I am.
They're cool people.
Same.
Yo, Space Dixie, BT should do a hat / keyboard showdown. I mean, like, I probably would come in last place.
God,
to
I
be
would
honest.
lose.
Yeah, I only have like 4 hats, so
I'd lose on hats and keyboards in that competition.
I have a ton of hats.
yeah, I feel like this would
Shelves of them.
I feel like this would be 2 people in the competition, BT and Dixie. That's about it.
Yeah, just be a show off.
But I wear the same one. I'll wear one for like 5 months and then I retire it and like never wear it again and then just move on to the next one.
Have you guys ever like entered a group buy or at least like thought you did and then like 6 months goes by and then you see like other people getting it and you're like, man, when is mine coming in? And then you realize you didn't enter the group buy because I did that with Botanical. And I was like looking at it and I was like, oh, people are getting it. And then I like checked my email and I was like, bro, I actually forgot to enter that one.
But I've done that for, I mean, like that's the thing about GMK sets this year here. Is just, I feel like there's a lot. And when you're thinking about it too, from like a consumer's perspective too, not everyone has the money to jump in on every single group buy. So I feel like there is that sense of regret when something does come in and everyone gets to see the final product and everyone has it and then suddenly it becomes a little bit more appealing, you know?
Yep.
So
yeah, it's when that FOMO hits. It's the you missed out fear. It's like, damn.
Why
Yeah. If you're thinking about getting it, you're like, I'll even go on the website, put it in the cart, and then forget to actually order it.
Yeah, the phone will ring.
Push that last button, and then later in the month, I'm like, I only have the thought of being in the cart, which makes me think that I ordered it.
Like you pulled the trigger? Yeah,
but
I've done that for sure. Yeah.
I did that.
I'll even wake up on the last day and be like, I have to do it today, and then forget. Like, God damn it.
I did that with Future Funk because I really liked it and I put it in the cart and kept telling myself I was going to buy it. And then I got a reminder and I was like, okay, after I'm done work today, I'm going to go buy it. And then I forgot.
So what you're saying is, as vendors, we need to set up dual reminders for things.
Yeah, even after they buy it, we'll remind them.
Yeah.
You left this in your cart in small text. We actually put it back in there.
We saw you remove this from your cart.
By purchasing it.
Dixie amazing hair versus Alex's new haircut. I mean, like luscious locks versus mine. No competition. That's luscious locks.
Nice hair going there.
Thanks.
Yours looks like it was actually like styled.
I did
Mine
it a little
hangs.
bit today, and then I put headphones on a little bit today, which I was trying to avoid to flex the new haircut for one day before it grows in again, and then
for
headphones.
1 day.
Yeah.
I had that hairstyle 4 or 5 years ago for all of one day until I woke up the next day and saw what it looked like without gel in it.
Yeah, it looks terrible.
I look like I'm on drugs. And I don't have the time or energy to do this every single day, so I just shaved it off like the next day.
Yep.
Went from biker gang to drug addict and like
it looks really scary when it's not done.
So I have a question, because we have seen Dixie Mech come out with some smaller kitting for a reduced price compared to the standard base kitting. I know that's something that we've been talking about here on my channel. I know some other people have been talking about it too. In particular, I guess I wanted to know kind of your opinion on kitting and where do you see that going, and maybe what led to that decision of going towards kitting like that too. One thing to note, we've been seeing a lot of like I know we're talking about GMK cherry sets over here, but like the cat sets where they have like 25 to 40 sometimes kits, and it can be very confusing.
Yep.
Just kind of want to know your thoughts on all that too.
I don't necessarily think that the TKL versus full base kit, either one is necessarily the right way, because if anybody follows us, they know that we do both.
Yeah,
I'm not exclusively one or the other. Even on sets that I've designed, there's some of them are one way, some of them are the other. I don't agree with cat level. I think that's too far. I have drawn the line myself at I don't think I'll ever want to completely split alphas and mods.
Yeah.
Which I'm not going to say it because you never know where the market goes. But at the moment, I don't think that's how it needs to go. But as far as deciding when to do the smaller base is really just any set that I feel has the potential to be really large. I have seen in numbers of past group buys that the smaller base kits just do better. Which then just allows you to be able to offer that lower price.
Yeah.
And I know the vocal minority is always going to say that shouldn't be the way it is. It's not as good of a value, which is true if you want the numpad. But as I've seen in numbers, I think it's 1/7 of customers on average want the numpad. So it's only a good value for 1/7 of the customers.
Yeah.
So why would I not go with 6/7? Give them a cheaper base kit to where they can spend that extra 30 on the other kit that they want, whether it's the modern kit or the spacebar kit. Because to some people, that extra $30 is a big deal.
It's a make or break.
If it was a full base kit, they couldn't get that accent spacebar kit if I had to sell it to them at $130. And I might even say that a majority people, that $30 means more. So that's why I've done it. Just you'll notice that all the sets that don't have the numpad in it have been our highest selling sets.
Mm-hmm. I think that it casts a wider net, and like I disagree that some people think it's highly controversial, or people have used even the word like money grab to go in that direction. But I'm like, it's not about that. It's like you said, you're accommodating the large majority, and your data you said like 6/7 of people. Like personally, I don't own
even less
an 1800 keyboard or like any keyboard that accommodates enough. I do not own one keyboard. So, and I don't know, I imagine the majority of the community's layouts go up to about TKL, which is, I feel like what most base kits should at least accommodate.
Yeah, and from my perspective too, because it's interesting hearing that from someone who's selling the keycaps too, and getting, I guess, more of like an insight on data. For me, for someone who collects like tons of keyboards, I'm always like, oh, it's nice having, just the inclusion of a numpad in the base kit. Because for me, I never know when I want to go back and maybe use that keyboard.
Or what board you're going to put it on in the future.
Yeah. But
I feel that too.
Yeah. And there is that other side of the coin too, where it's like someone who's not going to be inside of the hobby maybe as much, just wants one base kit that's going to fill one board that they're going to ever use. So it's interesting to hear that from your perspective.
And I also try to price them to where if you do want that numpad, that it's still close enough to the price that you would expect if it was already included. So I think our numpad on 8008 is $29.99. So if you add the two together, it's still $130, which is
pretty standard
somewhat
base kit.
Around the cost of a standard base kit. It's obviously more because there's some of that other compatibility that's removed to hit that $99 price. So it's not an exact weight, like a perfect, but I try not to make it 180 for what you normally could get. So it's just a couple dollars more. So where hopefully it's not a huge deal breaker if you have to spend $10 more to get it for that 1/7 of people.
Yeah. And
try to get a balance the best I can.
With pricing that low on like a numpad kit, it's like obvious you're not gorging anyone. You're not there's probably like, very minimal margin on that too. So I mean I would say that's extremely fair to price something like that.
Yeah, I tried. I mean, it helps when like I can 8008 I put the Alice / Ergo in the base. And still kept it at 99, and that was because I felt like I could get to a higher price point, or that a higher total, like minimum, like 1,500 on each base. And because I had that confidence that I could get to that 1,500, I was confident in pricing it at 99 instead of 105 or something, which is probably what you would have priced it at normally. But I wouldn't know. I don't think I could have gotten the 1,500 if I made it a full base. Or I wouldn't have been as confident. So it's really just setting yourself up, with as much confidence as you can that everything's going to hit what you want it to hit, so that you're not losing money on anything. You're not going negative. Because then that hurts all the other kits. If I'm having to buy out a ton of this one, that's less that I have to buy extras or whatever on that one, which then when that day comes is a whole other issue when you don't have enough extras.
Yeah, and little tiny mistakes with numbers like this based on historical data can just domino affect, months of finances by over or underestimating. So, I mean, you obviously have like historical data and what works for you and how that's going to affect this set.
That's usually what it comes down to. Like, it doesn't even really matter what I think, which obviously a lot of decisions are based on what I think, but I have so many key sets to look at that it's like the numbers don't lie. If I put them in order from top to bottom, the top ones are going to be every single one that didn't have a numpad in it. And I don't, at this point, with the amount that we've done, I don't think it's just a coincidence that those designs just happen to be better.
No, you're casting a wider net. It just, that's for sure.
Because it also, I guess it also begs the question too, with some kitting in some sets, some of the more, I guess, how can I word this nicely? Some of the less popular sets in terms of less people into a certain niche of something. So for example, I don't know, maybe there's some different sort of, like an ortho kit, for example. We'll just use that. It's really the only thing I can really think of at the moment. Where it might not sell as much as something else. How often do you see those being sold? Like ortho kits and whatnot? Like is that still a very popular item? Not too much?
I mean, I've never felt confident in running ortho anything. In 2018, I ran an ortho version of 9009. Most people may not even know that happened. But it was about 6 months after our first key set of 9009 round 2. That set basically failed miserably, and I had to buy it out. I didn't sell those for 2 years before I sold the in-stock units. And most of the ortho sets that we've seen have not hit. They've either failed or had to been bought out. So the most that I do is include it in like the obscure kit, as we call it, or the 40s kit, which those hit perfectly fine. Have been in recent this year. We haven't had any trouble with them hitting at all.
I think we are seeing a rise in some of the more niche keyboards and projects. I know I've been seeing a lot more of those even pop up, which is very interesting. That's cool to hear too, because I've always wondered like how well do those particular kits do, Which up until 8008, that I always slightly tweak kits because I want the data. So I'm like, every single key set project that I can slightly change something to get that data from a different angle, the better. And
when it came time for 8008, the one piece of data that I didn't have was what percentage of obscure kits are 40s people and what percentage are wanting it for the Alice space bars.
Yeah.
We don't know that because they're always combined. So who knows what percent, who's buying it for what?
Yeah.
So when I finally removed it, the obscure kit numbers are way lower than they have been this year on 8008. It's still going to hit, but I had to price it. Even though we removed a bunch of keys from it, I still had to price it at the same price because it was priced so much lower. Yeah. But I mean, it's going to hit, but it pretty much showed that a large percentage of people who buy that kit are buying it for the Alice space bars.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's another popular layout that we've been seeing a lot too. Like, I just built one today, and it's a popular unit.
I don't even own one. Never have.
I suck at typing on it. I have a few questions in chat here. What's our opinion about cat sets? Do they separate even function rows? So I'll be honest, Bessa, I know when we talk about cat sets, like, I do say that it is intimidating, and that's one thing that I will always personally say. It is intimidating for anyone to get into like a larger set where there's 20 plus things. Is that a bad thing for us who are like, for people who understand keyboards and stuff like that? And this might seem weird. I think it's fine for for people like that. But what I always try to think is someone who's just joining, because I have heard people, for example, buy a mod kit thinking that maybe was the entire thing and it's like an accident. Totally on them. I understand that they should have probably read or something like that. But I think that's a big job of the website, yada yada. There's tons of things that can go into that too, of trying to make it a little bit more easy to understand. Like an "Are you sure?" type thing. Is that the best way to go about things? I don't know. I have only ever bought one cat set, but I don't know. I feel like it's just a little bit more, I guess.
You'd have a little more knowledge probably when you're kind of looking into the kitting and know the difference between 1U, 125, 1.5 and stuff like that, and really pay attention and kind of squint at the kits. I know I haven't run one of those sets. I don't know if you have.
No,
but
I very specifically have not.
But I imagine that's like a SKU nightmare for a vendor, right?
It is not attractive to me in any way.
56 variants, and you have to print an invoice, read it, see 4 to 5 different SKUs on it, pick them from the piles. So, like, that just sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, I know, like, the people that are in the community, like, I'm on Discord every day just talking about it nonstop. I don't think myself might be 50% of the people who actually buy stuff. There's a lot of people that just buy it, don't talk about it. They might just buy one.
Yep.
They don't care to participate. So if they're only buying it for that one set, they don't have any knowledge of key sizes and rows. Like, we have people ask us, and we have sets that will have 2 kits, and they're still asking.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine if you have 50 that anyone would ever be able to buy the right one.
Yeah.
Or even to me, who I know all the answers, by the time I get to the 40th one, I don't remember what was on kit 27.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like a kit with 4 keys in it.
And I also think that gets to the extreme where it's almost like going too far around, and it's making it to where the places that you decide to put keys are almost can be worse than if you have larger keys. Like, I can't remember what Cat said it was, but it was like a 7U bottom row was not in a kit where it should be, and everyone was like, "That's the most standard thing to have," and it's in this weird kit with these other things.
Yeah.
So it's like finding out what things need to be together almost gets harder when you're trying to minimize it that far.
Yeah, and for people that maybe don't know why kitting is like that with certain plastic manufacturers, is because their minimum order quantities are based on, I want to say it's like pieces of plastic sold, not each kit's minimum order quantity.
Total keys or something.
Right.
Yeah,
it's total key, pieces of total keys. So you can have an infinite number of kits so long as they're hitting, the combined keys MOQ.
Yeah, and I want to specify too, for anyone who is, running those things or enjoys buying them, there's nothing wrong with it at all. I like, it's good conversation to have, because like, when you really think about it, as a business, it's like, do you always want to cater to the outlier who might buy, one set of this? And I understand in Cat, you're selling it differently. It doesn't really matter, because it's for a total amount of keys. But it's almost like, again, there is labor and other stuff that goes into carrying that SKU and making sure that SKU gets packed and shipped and all that.
Yeah,
good
that's a
stuff
logistical
too.
nightmare.
Yeah,
Like,
I'd be buying extras like crazy.
The biggest one that I did with XDA Oblique, which was kind of like Cat is now. I think we had 20 or 22 kits.
Oh wow.
And when it came in, it was like, when I'm packing an order, I have to have every single kit surrounding me. Like, I need to see them all at once so that when I'm looking at the order, I have it to grab. So if you have 50, you're going to be walking back and forth across a room on every order trying to find these things. And if not, and like we do a lot of where we print labels, we'll print orders that are all the same. So all the base kit onlys, all the base kit plus space bars, so that mentally you don't have to stop and think to change. There's no possibility of you screwing up an order. You're just packing every single one of them's identical.
Yeah.
So if you have 56 kits, I don't do the math there, but that's a lot of different combinations.
Yeah. However, I would say like to that 90% of your orders are, maybe that's too high. I don't know. A lower percentage, like 80% are probably going to be your main kit or like alphas and mods, you know, and there's going to be like the rest of the 10 to 20% is going to be this mix of all the other SKUs. But yeah, that's a logistical nightmare.
I mean, there's nothing keeping people from running cat sets with normal kits like GMK does.
Yeah.
That's like
when I've run SA
sets,
right? Yeah. Like SA was kind of like that in the past, where not to that extreme, but the alphas were separated from the mods and they didn't even do MOQ that way. I think it was just because SA costs so much more. You're trying to get people only exactly what they want. But every SA set that I've run, I've just done it with regular GMK kits for logistical issues. I'm just like, this is just how I think it should be done, and that's just how I've done it.
Yeah.
But yeah, whoever wants to do 56 kits, go for it.
Yeah, and guys, like that's the other thing too. No one's saying you guys shouldn't do that. You know, it's all up to you. It's just good conversation to have because it is a little confusing for newer people. I doubt people in the hobby at the moment, they probably won't complain as much. I know. I like to voice it a bunch. I know we do that a bunch here on the show, but
maybe just like a video or like a very clear description of each kit.
I did this for my day job. We did this whole, it's like a type form thing where it starts off with what do you need for mods, and you get to pick from the mods. Okay, next, and then it goes, what do you need for alphas? And you can even pick like, well, you don't need this for alphas. Okay, next, do you want novelties? Instead of having that choice of possibly missing something, it's spoon feeding you the information, which I thought was like, I did it for something else, but I was really thinking about it for how keyboard vending could work. And I was like, man, that can make the process of buying something with a lot more kits way more digestible.
Yep. You fill in, or I actually had that thought for 8008. I didn't have time to pull it off. But when I posted my renders as like a tiny version of it, this time I decided on the description on the page, I was going to put under it, these are the kits that you see in this picture. I was like, it would be cool if you just posted a render of like every possible board that you could think a person would want, and then put which kits were needed to fill it. And then what you're saying is the total mile of where they literally say, what board do you have? These are the kits you need. And it just gives you the answer.
Yeah.
That's
which would be awesome.
Elite. So actually, Dixie, I have like a pretty good recommendation I'll talk to you about after stream. It's like a conditional logic plugin for Shopify that could probably do something like that. Like when you pick a kit, like a variant SKU option, then if this, then do that. Which it could be something cool. That could actually be pretty cool.
Yeah, but like I have like kit names that fit the aesthetic that I want it to be in naming. So I have like standard, obscure. They're all one word kits that all describe what's in it. But some of them like aren't 100% obvious. So a lot of them I'll put in parentheses: base kit, spacebar's kit, ortho kit.
Yeah.
I think it was think caps and botanical. Like botanical had themed names. It was like succulent, jungle, bamboo. I was like, no one's gonna know what this means. So you actually have to put in parentheses, this is what this is. And customs definitely isn't gonna like it if it says bamboo and they're like charging.
They're gonna open that thing right up. Yeah.
The fuck.
I think set names could be more make more sense and be more standard. Yeah, I think that's exactly the point too. Like if there's like a weird name for a set name, sometimes it becomes a little confusing. And I think a more standardized, like what Dixie just said too, that makes
pretty
a lot
much
more
the same
sense.
6 to 8.
I try not to.
Set names.
Yeah.
I try not to force that on designers because a lot of designers like those themed names. So I'm not going to come in and be like, no, you have to name it this.
Yeah.
But that's just what I do for mine. Jan Glad has done it on his.
Yeah, and then we actually have a few people saying, well, we had Clavier saying Omnitype hype, Omnitype hype, in full capitals, spamming it. Thank you, Clavier. I love you. A lot of people actually talking about cat in the chat too. Guys, there's a lot, and the reason I bring it up is because there's a lot of beautiful cat sets coming out, like lots of them, gorgeous. And I don't know, I just think it's a good conversation to have because we've been seeing a lot more of them recently. I think with GMK sets, I think we're seeing what, 9 to 10 a month now across different vendors, something like that. And I think we're seeing more and more cat come, even cam, same thing really. So it's interesting, definitely interesting conversation. Cat profile looks and sounds great. I agree. I definitely agree. I like my cat set. Hello from Australia. Hello, how you doing? Omni hype. I mean, there you go. That's the first meme that's going to come out of that. Omni hype instead of Omni. I'm excited for my cat sets after buying so many GMK sets and Infinity Key sets. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely different. Definitely different. What other projects are you going to be working on this year, Mr. Dixie Mech?
Or rather, maybe the start
next
of
year.
next year.
Sorry, you guys know what I mean.
I don't even think any have been announced. The one that will be happening is Bauer Light. That will be happening next year. Unless there's like the world actually ends. But seeing that it doesn't, Bauer Light will be happening next year. And then some key sets, let me see. I don't remember which ones the designers have announced it or not yet.
You just
so
accidentally leak.
Say anything.
So we're gonna see more. We're gonna see more sets, definitely.
Oh yeah.
You did mention
Not
that
stopping on those.
there's going to be an overlap or a period where your store's closing for your full rebrand going down.
Yeah, so basically once 8008 is over, and we always kind of let the group buy silently fade out. I don't like to cut it right at the midnight because I know there's people that forget, or so it just cuts down on customer service if we just leave it open till like the next morning instead of getting 1,000 tickets like, can I still join? So once all that is finished, we're just going to shut it down. We're going to put up like a page just explaining like this is what's happening, just so that we can make all those back-end adjustments. We just have so much stuff that you have to move that's really hard to do when you're live, because I don't want it to be like people getting on there and half the logos are this, half the logos are that. So I don't want to do it when it's live. I want to shut it down and be able to open when everything's back perfect. As far as overlap, that's just because we do pre-orders and a lot of stuff has already been produced, and because GMK sets take so long, their sets, dare I say it, Dracula from last year, that doesn't have Dixie logos on it, but just an example, they're sets that take a long time to ship. Modern Dolch Light was our design, has our logo on the desk pads. It hasn't shipped yet and won't ship till early next year. So we're already going to be swapped over to the new brand, but there's nothing we can do. They're just going to have it. So just until all of that gets completely shipped out, we're going to see them popping up here and there.
Yeah.
So we can get completely moved. Unfortunately.
Nice. And also someone said...
can't close for 7 months.
Yeah. Someone said, well, my Dixie Mech gift card still work.
Yeah, for sure. As far as the back end on customer-wise, nothing's changing. Like your accounts are all going to be the same. Even the old Dixie Mech like URLs, they're all going to still work. Like we're not just deleting the name and make everything break. So everything's still going to work perfectly fine. Same people, same products, same customer service. Everything's the same, just new name. And we have a lot of improvements to things that have bugged us or that we've been wanting to do website-wise, and just overall customer experience that we're going to try to get done as quick as we can while we're down to be able to launch it all together.
Yeah.
Nice. Have you spoken at all about kind of the idea behind your new name, or how long that's been in the works?
No, I figure we can do it on here.
Yeah.
All right.
It's only been I don't know how many days. It hasn't been that many days. 1 week since we announced.
Exclusive debut.
Which I have seen a lot of people. Which obviously, when you announce a change like this, not everyone's gonna like it. You're gonna get your criticisms, which is welcome. Criticize it all you want, because I criticize people as well. But the name, I myself, coming from designer background and the way that they teach you to look at every tiny detail, look at the details for the future, I had a nearly impossible list of things that I wanted the name to check off. Like I wanted it to be 2 or 3 syllables. Like very specifically, I didn't want it to be too long. I wanted it to be easy to remember. Obviously, I wanted it to not be trademarked. I didn't want the URL to be used. I didn't want there to be another business at all. And if there was, it needed to be nowhere near what we do. I needed SEO to look like we could easily take the top spot once we get going again with that new name. And then I didn't want the name to include some of the community used buzzwords that we see: clack, thock, keeb. I wanted to go even more professional, which I have seen that as one of the criticisms, is that it seems more professional and corporate than small businessy, which was kind of a decision. I wanted to go professional. Like I wanted to set ourselves up for the future to grow, not to stay small.
So there's some like
so
brand ascension going on too.
Yeah, I didn't want it to be a rebrand just to rebrand. I wanted it to be an improvement in every way possible. Not just we're doing this to do it and we're going to flat and stay the same. So in seeing that I didn't want to use keeb, clack, thock, all those type words, but I was like, I still want there to be a word that describes what we do. And I swear I was thinking about this every moment I was awake. I couldn't sleep for weeks. Just everything I looked at, I was writing down things.
Yeah.
And I was like, the only word is type. That's the only word that's professional and describes what we do. There's like not another one. So I was like, okay, that's where we're going to start. Type. So then I started looking at prefixes, suffixes, I had a list of hundreds of them. Just like every word I could think of, that some of them too whimsical, some of them too masculine, some of them too feminine, some of them too strong. Like I had every possible name on earth, and I just slowly was narrowing it down. And then I was like, one day I was just like, Omni. It means all things type. That's kind of what we do. This seems obvious. So it just kind of checked every single box that we wanted. So it was a very painful process because I was stressed every day. I was like, I'm never going to think of one. I was like, I'm never going to find a name that I like that checks all these boxes. It's just not possible. I'm too picky. I was like, I'm never going to find it. So
up until when you were like, pull the trigger on it, let's do that. Was it ever like 50-50 or an A and B, Omnitype versus, another prefix aside from Omni? Were you having to pick between two?
The name that I thought we were going to use was Typecorp for months. I thought that was the one.
Ooh, Typecorp sounds
always
like
had in the back of,
that sounds very like cyberpunk. Like you'd find that on one of the sides of the buildings there.
It sounded very like, I liked the mysterious and this sounds like it has a tiny hint of like, not that we're evil, but like
Corp sounds evil. Yeah, Corp sounds evil.
Like it sounds very strong. And we had watched Mr. Robot a few months before, so I think that was still like stuck in my head. But for months I thought that was going to be the one, but still in the back of my head I was like, something doesn't feel right about this one. It seems almost too generic. Like it's very generic in the words that they are, and it seemed a little too like sinister.
Like you're shipping people's products in like a white lab coat.
Yeah. Even though I love the way it sounded and I had really cool branding ideas, I was like, it's not quite us. So I started brainstorming again.
And if you guys are wondering more about why the change, we won't talk about it too much here because it's already on the newsletter, even a web page. He does have a web page explaining some of that change too. It's on his website.
Yeah, I'll post the link.
I know some people before asking why we're still calling him Dixie, because it hasn't been changed over quite yet. And I'll be honest, guys, with a name change, sometimes
It's gonna take everyone.
It's gonna take some people some time to remember. People are still probably gonna refer to it as Dixie Mech in some sort of regards. But
for a few months.
Yeah, and I see a lot of you guys with the Dix joke. I get it. It's funny, but it still has Dixie Mech.
Those have been there for a long time.
Yeah. We say that while we're in the cult of the keys. I know. Well, I mean, I don't know. We're not a cult, I don't think. No more Mr. Dixie. That'll be Mr. Omni. Mr. Type. Omni better. I like Mr. Omni better. How long did the rebranding take you as far as a new logo, symbols, font after finalizing the name? Were there a lot of iterations? That's a good question.
Yeah, so as far as the actual branding, what you physically see, we worked with a agency called Unfold,
which I saw that, yeah.
Which it was really fun. They were insanely good at what they do. I've never actually been on that side of the relationship of a designer by being the client. I've always been the designer. But at the beginning of the rebrand, I was going to do it myself. I was like, why wouldn't I? I did the last one. That's what I do. I love doing it. Branding is one of my favorite things. Like I brand every key set. Every key set we do, I make a logo. Like that's just what I like to do. But like I just had so much going on every single day that I didn't think I was going to be able to do it justice for something that was such a big deal. I was like, there's too much pressure for this to be good for me to try to fit this in with everything else that I have going on. So I was like, I need to pay someone else to do this. So I found them, and there were a lot of it. Like I think it took 6 to 7 weeks from the beginning with all the sketches until they sent me the logos. And at the moment, I'm actually in the process of working with a font designer to create our own custom display font to go with the brand. So based off of the logo type, it's going to be the full alphabet. Yeah.
And one thing I did notice when you announced Omnitype was it still had a little bit of that kind of blocky, I wouldn't say stylized, but that blocky type of font that your current logo has, your current typeface. That Omni has. I did notice like there was a little bit of that kind of carryover in terms of design too, which was interesting. So it's not like it's losing all its familiarity. It still has
brand
some
new,
yeah.
Yeah, that was very intentional. That was like one of the biggest things. Like when we first started with the agency, we just had a meeting and I just talked their ear off. I was like, this is everything I have in my head. And that was one of the big things is I don't want it to get too separated. I don't want it to be brand new or it looks like we like got bought out or something. And it's just somebody completely new. So I was like, I still want that same feeling to be there as far as the personality, which was kind of industrial, strong, sharp edges, which are the Dixie branding was almost a tad bit vintage with that cream and our circle logo, which we kind of slightly moved a tiny bit away from that.
There's the block.
Because we moved from the cream.
Rectangle,
yeah. Our white is now like a nice, cool light gray instead of cream. Yeah, I still wanted to stick with that same strong, bold, thick lettering. And they did a great job on that too.
I see someone in chat. Important. Someone in chat said Hunt and Peckers is the name. Guys, I feel like that's an attack at me because I type with 4 fingers. Come on. Be nice to me. One of the charming things about this hobby is the personal feeling with vendors and designers, and generic names like Corp take the personality out of it. Yeah, I don't know. Like me personally, like I mean, he didn't go with Corp. I'm glad he didn't. The word Corp's so weird. It does sound evil.
I mean, that was part of the reason.
Yeah,
like we wanted to go more professional, but not like we picture 100-story building with 4,000 people in it.
Yeah,
kind of vibe. So
Chase
settled in the middle.
Chase subbed and said, "Chase, why aren't you just on the show?" What are some changes coming along with the new brand? Are we going to see more new content ventures from Omnitype? Just wondering if you are going to be using this as an opportunity to branch out and expand the empire.
Empire. Oh.
Does that have anything to do with Corp?
Yeah. I think so. Like we obviously have Bauer Light coming, which most people may not think is out of the norm, but it's a pivot to be able to try to just have something regularly available. So we want, which has always been a problem probably for every vendor in this market. is it just sucks when people find your business and have nothing to buy. So that's something that we're really wanting to focus on. And we have some collaborations in the works with some people, which is always just really fun for me. I just love getting to work with other people, especially people that aren't in the same business, and getting to just collaborate. Totally. That's always a huge load of fun to do that. But as far as content, like I would love to actually be able to create visual content, make videos and stuff like that. Like I would love to do all that. I just don't have time myself. So until we have someone on staff doing it, it probably won't happen. But we are definitely going to try to improve production value wherever we can, as far as whether it be product photos, if we can get them that way, to let people see what they can buy if we can provide that. Try to get more units to content creators like you before things come out. We're trying to do all of that the best that we can. But the main focus is just making sure we stick to what we do now and what we do good, and make sure that we continue doing that and don't lose any of that once the new brand comes, and then slowly branch out into these other areas. We don't want to just like jump off into a new one and the other ones start dropping off. So we're getting there.
Yeah. And I see an interesting question in chat too. Oh, totally does. I think there's another question here too. Well, there's lots of questions about more information about the Bauer light. But there is one in particular that I like. Little Bonaparte's asking, any thoughts on doing an in-stock keycap set like GMK white and black or black on white? I guess more of the base.
I would love to have in stock key sets. Whether that would be possible, like it would be called in stock and then it would last 5 minutes and then be gone. So I do have that on my mind to do. There's some projects that I don't think that's the right path. Because you may not have the confidence to go and buy 5,000 of them as you might some other ones. So group buy, I still think is the right method to do for a lot of things, just so that you don't under order or over order. You can get everybody that wants one, and there's not a huge outburst when nobody gets them. But yeah, I would like to do that. I think just the production time at the moment is kind of keeping that from happening.
Yeah.
I don't like, I would order black and white and it wouldn't be here till next year. So it's not like a huge priority. But yeah, I definitely think that I do have some designs of my own that I don't really think are what we would call blockbuster sets, but I would still like to see exist. That I've had the thought of, like, maybe I'll just buy some of them and just forget about it, and then when they come in, be like, oh yeah, this set exists. I just think it's fun to surprise people too. It'd be cool to just be like, hey guys, no interest check, look, this exists, I'm holding it.
I personally like
that's a risk.
Yeah, and it is a risk,
cool.
but I think it's so much fun to see, because I feel like when something goes through an IC, there's obviously more people who have eyes in it, and there's people who give suggestions, and it could be for all the right and good reasons. But I love seeing people's work with no other hands inside the pot telling it, here's what you should do. I love seeing stuff like that. I think it's really cool. But we have some other questions here saying, what's one super cool or hard or interesting thing that you've learned through the process of becoming a major vendor?
Oh, basically everything that I do every day, I didn't know how to do before I started doing this. Like, I was a graphic designer with a degree in graphic design. I knew nothing about business. I knew nothing about how to run a business. Marketing is slightly involved in graphic design, but it's not really. I just created the graphics for the market people to use, but I never actually did it myself. So basically everything except designing things for a computer. So even the product design was new for me. I'd never designed anything in CAD. I'd never brought a product to market. So literally every single thing I do, I sometimes just go like, I don't even know how I'm doing this right now, because no one taught me how to do it besides like asking friends questions or finding a guy who knows a little more. Kind of teaching yourself how to do things, which is, I guess, just entrepreneurial life. for most small business owners.
Yeah.
You wear all the hats and you have to figure out how to make it happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I could pick one thing. Super cool, hard, or interesting. I would say hard. It gets slightly easier, but just for me, who was just a small time little designer working at a job he didn't like, just having to pay invoices at the size that I have to pay is never not scary. Doesn't matter how many times I do it. It's still really scary to hit that button and send that amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, I can.
So that's definitely hard.
If one thing goes wrong, then you just have to. It stresses you out. You probably lose a lot of sleep over it, right?
Yeah, which a lot of people ask. It's just kind of changing subjects a tiny bit.
Yeah,
but they ask, why do people keep using GMK when their lead times are so far? And it's like, because I trust them. I love working with them. They're great at what they do. Even if someone came along as a competitor, I don't know who they are. They're a random person on the other side of it. How do I know I can trust them if they're going to deliver the product? It's the main reason why I haven't run a cat set, because I don't have that level of relationship with those people. So that is a huge reason why people keep using GMK, because they're so, you can trust them even if it takes forever. So it's like, makes it a little easier.
Mm-hmm. I constantly see the argument that consumers make that GMK just needs to scale. They have so much.
Hit that button.
They have
button.
The big red button, like you see. I don't know if you guys have Staples.
Bam! New machine.
Yeah.
They have so much assured residual income every single month with the exponential growth they've had over the last 24 months. Why doesn't GMK just scale? Why don't they just do it? And from being, I would, say one of the most prominent vendors, what would you say to that when people say just scale GMK?
Well, I usually say this comes back to the same reason that us vendors, me, Novelkeys, Project Keyboard, all of us have said the same thing. We're not offering you unlimited of all of these things for the same reason. You don't want to drown in success. It's definitely possible. You can have too much success where it drowns you and kills you. So you need to take it slow, which is what GMK did. They didn't buy machines until they knew that it was worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Which most of the time it's very hard to hit that perfect spot where you make the decision perfectly in time, but where it doesn't push you back on anything, but not too early where you possibly shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to set up an injection molding machine. I know it's not easy. And especially when first of all, they cost a ton of money. Second of all, we had a global pandemic. So who knows if those machines availability was hit, where they purchased one, but they were like, well, we don't have the people to make it for you. So you're going to have to wait. We don't know all that stuff. And then the transporting of a huge, ginormous machine, the installation, the training it takes to teach someone how to use it.
The buildings that has to be set in.
Yeah, there's so many pieces, which I don't know. I mean, GMK has been saying that they were getting more machines for over a year. If there wasn't a global pandemic, I might be pushing and complaining more, but I can't, because Germany's literally on a complete lockdown right now. It's not their fault. They have no choice over that. So we don't know. There's just so many variables, so many things that could delay this with a delay on top of that, with a delay on top of that. So just trying to support them to get them through to it, because if we support them to get there, it helps us too.
Yeah. And your answer is coming from such a place where I don't know, you might have been attacked by customer service questions, because your defense to GMK is more I am a vendor. I deal with consumers. I understand these types of questions and logistical nightmares. You don't want to obviously scale too quick, because let's just say they buy 5 machines at $200,000 each in anticipation that GMK is the number one keycap set for the next 10 years. And what if, I don't know, something controversial happens or big mess up, and you could just overscale and lose your entire business.
Or someone's like, cat's the way we want now. No one's buying GMK anymore.
Yeah.
And now they're sitting there with all these machines
imagine if, the largest keycap vendors unanimously, everyone goes, to Cam or like Cat or something else, and they're GMK sitting there like, we did something wrong here.
I think they just got really unlucky with timing. That when that time came around where it was the right decision, the pandemic screwed everyone. So
luckily everyone's
that was around the time that they were saying last year that they were about to buy some more machines, was right when COVID hit. So I wouldn't be surprised if it just horribly delayed it. But if they can get those machines going and get those lead times down, I think it's going to improve a lot of things for a lot of people, even besides the obvious of things not taking as long. It will allow people to buy some in-stock stuff. I'll be much more inclined to do it if I only got to wait 2 or 3 months to get it.
Yeah. That would probably correlate to more sales too, because you have to...
I wouldn't even be surprised if more extras happen. Yeah, more sales as well, for sure.
Because there is that large audience that when they're coming in the community, and this is at least for me too, you come into the community on this like kind of Amazon Prime mentality in 2020. Maybe you're into watches and you're like, you know what, I like keyboards, and you go to buy your first thing is this nice keycap set you see, and you're so deterred by the lead times. So that initial overlap, you're like, oh, I just got 2,000 orders on this keycap set. Imagine that, like, those immense amount of orders are all people that are willing to wait this crazy amount of time. And if you could do it 90 days, I mean, that would be such a larger scale. Yeah,
there's got to be a huge amount of people that don't buy because of that and wait to buy the extras. So it could help on every front. They end up buying in their group buy instead of the extras, which means the extras are more easily available. And then even for me personally, I would be willing to invest more capital to get more extras if it didn't take me a year to get it back.
Because you can cash flow that money a lot quicker.
Yeah.
It doesn't
when
have to
it takes a year before you get your investment back, it's hard to make that decision, especially when you do it every single month, 12 to 15 times, and you haven't seen $1 of it back. So it's like you have to be able to continue existing until it comes in and not go out of business.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like chess, right? Yeah. Like everything is so calculated.
4D chess. But yeah, I think there's a lot of really good conversation to be had at that too. Because I even see some people saying that like they're in agreement with, lead times need to scale and whatnot too. But by the way, guys, I see some people in the chat saying like certain profiles are not good or like certain things aren't good. Everyone has their preferences. Some people can like certain things, and that's okay. Remember that, please. Insane demand affects everyone. I agree with that. Yeah, totally. I've been in the community for almost 3 years, but never left a group buy until this year. And I remember the first time I joined Cat Space Cadet group buy, expecting it to ship within 2 weeks to a month, then being blown away by almost 1 year of lead time, which caused me to cancel. I don't doubt there is many like me, because it causes group buys to not be able to grow in size. Yeah, and I think that's the big thing too. Is like we were just saying. Well, like they were just saying. I was listening because this is all very intriguing for me. If that number goes down, there's more people who definitely would want to join in for sure. It makes a lot of sense to me.
Can't hurt at all.
No.
Did you guys have any other questions besides Bauer? I don't know. Like, did you want to address anything about the Bauer Light? Because I already know if I open this up to questions.
I don't have a ton of more information than I have listed in our update.
Yeah. So besides the Bauer Light, guys, do you guys have any other questions besides the Bauer?
I want to make sure everything's finalized before I say anything, because people don't forget when you say things.
Yeah, the Bauer Light will have 3 Swiss Army knives in the bottom, guys, that you can take right out.
Yeah, it's plastic. The plate is backwards compatible. So you can take your plate out of your metal Bauer and it works in the plastic one.
That's cool.
The top and bottom housings aren't the same, because designing something for injection molding is literally the exact opposite of designing something for metal. Metal, you're starting with a huge block and removing material. With injection molding, you're starting with an empty chamber and you're injecting it. So from the outside, the Bauer Light will look the same, but the inside, it had to be completely done from scratch in order to achieve the same mounting style, but in a different production style. It was like the hardest thing I've ever done.
And that is
going to be really fun.
That's because you have to design to accommodate the machine actually injecting the plastic and achieving that same mounting style.
There's a ton of restrictions and rules in injection molding that I didn't know about, which I'm working with like a hardcore veteran injection molding designer, if that makes anyone feel better, this isn't something that I'm just Googling and guessing on. I'm actually working with someone who knows exactly what they're doing. Just because there's so much risk. Once you make those molds, they're made.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure it's right.
And they aren't cheap. I assume they're not cheap anyway.
No.
Yeah.
A lot of upfront. But like there's thickness restrictions. Like you have to have supports in these places. I told somebody in our Discord that was asking, will Bauer Light come with a blockerless version? Now I was like, the blockers literally have to be there because the screw placement needed that tiny bit of extra plastic availability to exist. So if there weren't blockers, it literally couldn't happen.
Imagine 2 molds for it, like an A and B option.
Oh god.
I thought about it, but then there's just literally no way to make the design work without them. Just because of how much room I would have had to make the bezel on the front of the keyboard bigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I did not want.
I would stray from your other Bauer.
Yeah.
We also have a bunch of other questions here too. Lots of botanical extras question.
There will be extras.
Okay.
After group by unit ship.
Okay.
Sign up for the newsletter.
Another person said 8008 blue or pink. Which one is your favorite, Mr. Dick?
I don't know. I think the pink one
Is it because it's still the
is
original?
my favorite. Yeah. I think the contrast from the bluish gray to the pink being from different sides of the color spectrum mesh perfectly. And the blue one is the opposite, where they are all together in the blue spec section, which makes it work so well.
Yeah.
But I think just it being that little bit of extra contrast makes me like it.
Mm-hmm.
The blue looks dang good.
I need to get the damn blue base, man. I
feel really like douchey for saying that when I made it, but I like it a lot.
Oh yeah, I mean you can prefer something that you make. I think that's fair. Someone said, "Can we get a Bauer Heavy 20-pound keyboard?"
Oh, I don't know. I think the brass one weighed 5 pounds, which I've never been someone to design something just to be as heavy as possible.
Well, I have a question for
I didn't
everyone.
really care how much it weighs.
I have a question for everyone in chat. Maybe if you guys have your own opinion. Can I ask a question, guys? I don't actually know what the fascination with heavy keyboards is, but why does everyone like for the guys who or people who like heavy keyboards in chat? Why do you like heavy keyboards? Because I actually don't know why everyone likes heavy keyboards so much.
You don't like a heavy set keyboard, Alex?
It's not about heavy set, which is it's just hard to move. I have a few really like heavy keyboards, and then self-defense weapon. Guys, come on.
Defense is what everyone's
Home defense.
I think people just like unintentionally relate heavy to quality when you're coming from your whole life most likely using a light plastic keyboard, that for some reason it's just such a huge difference that it seems like that's how it should be. Which I liked heavy keyboards years ago, but now I just don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I think at one point maybe I associate it with quality, but we have lots of answers. Kimchi says, yes, preach, Alex. Self-defense, overcompensating, home defense, self-defense. Drop test.
Overcompensating.
Okay, only Teja does that. Come on. And then weapon of choice. You guys with the weapons, Jesus. Yura says, I like to use mine as a weight when I do squats. Okay, so we got fitness in here. I mean, yeah, there's lots. I haven't broken a keyboard in over a year since I can't pick it up anymore. There's that.
I think it's just
a lot of people. Oh, you go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's like when you're going, I spent $50 on this Logitech and I spent $500 on this TGR. When I'm looking at them side by side, weight just is such a huge difference. It's like, yes, this is worth more money. If you were holding an HHKB and a Dell next to each other, even though it costs 5 times more, you're like, well, they're both still plastic. Like, what's the difference? So I guess it's like initial
that association with
it's
weight equals
maybe
quality.
Like lack of being in the community. Because like when I think the first thing I ever picked up, like the first nice heavy keyboard was
you're like
oh well, I instantly was like, my keyboard is so inferior. You know, like 2 years ago, I was just like, based on the weight alone, I knew I was just holding like an $800 bill. You know, I was like, this is quality. This is peak quality right here, and mine is ass. So
I mean, I don't think that thought process is like bad.
No, definitely.
I don't think it's right, but I don't like think someone's a bad person for thinking that.
That was my initial outside of the community coming.
I think everyone was. I think everyone goes through the same order of thoughts and progression of thoughts, like same order.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of how it happens. And now I'm back to the HHKB as my daily every single day.
Really?
The lightest keyboard is technically not even a mechanical keyboard. How ironic.
Which keycap
I sell
sits on
MX
there?
keycap sets every single day, and I use Topray for my.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. I have one that I need to mod. Ragan, I'm so sorry, I haven't modded.
This is all stock besides keycaps. I'm a stock guy.
Stock. So I guess I have I might skip over some of these, but I just have a couple of like rapid fire questions for you. So you studied design in school, right? Is that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So what got you into design?
Just generally non-keyboard wise.
Sure.
In high school, when they're all like preparing you for college, I thought of it as like, okay, this subject, math, definitely not doing anything with that. History, nope. Science, nope. None of that interests me. Photography, maybe, but no one makes a living really doing that. And then I had this design class, and I just really liked doing it. And I was like, I think this is what I'm the best at. That just naturally comes to me with how my mind thinks.
Yeah,
it just kind of meshed. And that's just kind of how I did it. I was like, this. I don't know if it makes any sense, but it felt like that the way that I thought I was meant to be a designer, because there's a weird way of thinking that most designers have. So I just did it. Not that designers make money either, but
well, it opens a door to so many categories. Obviously, when you're sitting in your high school class, you're not thinking, you're going to be like looking at a plastic Pantone chip, designing keycap sets, and however long. So it opened obviously a door to make a hobby a career later on. So
yeah, I think it was a lot of luck. But I think the graphic design background is what gave me a good foundation as far as how the business was seen. Right off the bat, I was able to, which now when I look back and see the first year of how our website and stuff looked, I think it looked horrible.
I cringe too at mine. It's okay.
Yeah, but without sounding horribly full of myself, I think it was a better start than most people that just do a business for a hobby. Because the only reason I did the business for a hobby is so that I could just design a brand for no reason, because I just liked branding. So I was like, I'll make up a random company just to give me an excuse to brand something. So it was really, that's kind of why I even started the business, just to have fun designing stuff. I guess the real answer is I wasn't good at anything else.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, if you find interest in something, just do it. Like that's cool to me to hear. What field of design specifically was it initially?
I was always graphic design.
Okay.
So not web design. Just very purely for the computer. So like branding, logos, advertisements, that kind of thing.
Cool. I guess that goes hand in hand with what you do now.
Yeah, I mean, it applies very often.
Yeah. Cool. How long have you been in the community? And I guess how long ago did Dixie Mech start, and was like what time, like how long into the community did it take for Dixie Mech to start?
I think I found the community, I can't remember if it's 6 or 7 years ago.
Jeez, I'm sitting here at a year.
I'm trying to remember. Wow. I remember what job I was at, but I worked there so long that I don't remember which year. Something around that time period.
Mm-hmm. So you were a consumer in it for a while, obviously.
Yes, and I didn't even really buy that much stuff. Like I bought a Poker 2 right when I got in, and then I bought some of those Sunset Tie-How Keycap.
Those are classic.
Yeah. And I thought that I was so cool. I had mismatched profile artisans, so I had like DSA caps with a cherry escape. I was I think everyone was at that point.
Wait, I still have
where
that, guys. Come on.
Your mind just didn't even fathom that it shouldn't be like that.
No, not at all. Like I think I still have a board with that.
Yeah. I had it was like the Jelly Key. Their very first
Yeah,
one.
I feel so attacked. I feel so attacked
Yeah.
right now. Literally got that happening with.
Oh, see, that's a little different, I think.
Because it's on the pad there.
I had DSA with Cherry. Like, that's horrible.
Feel so attacked. I'm sitting here like sweating. Every artisan on every keyboard I have is
like
misprofiled.
I think DSA Overcast or SA Chocolatier were some of my first group buys, which was like even a couple years after the poker because like I didn't have any money to buy anything. But I started the company in summer of 2017, so we're at like 3.5 years now. So yeah, I was just a person for a while. Like that was before Discord was even a thing in keyboards. I was in one Slack channel back in the day, before Discord was good, when Discord was still really bad. So it's come a long way. I wasn't like back then. It was the only way you were in the community was
Forums.
Reddit,
Yeah,
and Desk Authority and Keycap, and I wasn't deep enough to even understand the old school forums like Keycap and Desk Authority. I didn't even attempt that until I think a lot probably
of and that's an interesting point too about Discord, because I think before Discord, even with the communities I was in prior to keyboards, even gaming, if you were into gaming at all, like getting into, like for example, World of Warcraft. I don't know if you guys in chat have played World of Warcraft, but it was Ventrilo, TeamSpeak, all these other weird ass programs.
TeamSpeak, that was the one that we used.
Yeah, Xfire back in the day was Xfire still, which was
TeamSpeak was legit.
TeamSpeak and Skype.
We used that.
Wait.
I was using TeamSpeak when GTA 5 came out, which GTA 5's been out for like 100 years, so I guess that doesn't really...
Like, what, 2013? 2014 maybe?
Has it been that long for GTA 5?
Yeah.
It's been on like 8 different consoles, like generations.
God. I
mean, I'm pretty sure GTA 5 was on PS2. Like, you could probably convince me of that at this point.
I had it on the 360, man.
360, like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
There was also Mumble.
Yeah,
for all my WoW players, Mumble.
Oh, we tried Mumble, but TeamSpeak fit us better.
Yeah, there were so many different...
Slack was where communication was.
Yeah, Slack was a good one for like if you did anything that needed to actually be... we even Skype. I'm glad that program no longer a thing.
Bro,
yeah, me too.
I was all about Skype like 10 years ago, okay? That's what I use.
Cursed
Whenever I hear that, it like brings back horrible memories.
There's a lot of programs, but I really think that Discord kind of unified a lot of different things and allowed us to create things like communities within Discord, which is really cool. So that's definitely a really interesting topic of conversation as well.
It was a huge spark of growth, I think, Discord.
Yeah.
I think that is side by side with the explosion.
Yeah. The concept of servers is, I gotta say, that's genius. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah. Like, I don't think I remember, so for example, if I were to want to create like an Alex Otis Discord now, or not Discord, just some sort of platform, it would have to, if Discord didn't exist, it would have to be a forum. And then managing those forums was a pain in the ass, because I know I've managed a few of them for other, again, smaller communities and stuff. But it was a pain in the ass. Like, there was thread, even honestly, like, I'm not a big fan of Keycap. I don't like the layout of it, never have. I've said it multiple times. I hate old PHP forums. Don't like them. Sorry, go on, Ragan.
Oh, it's the MyBB forums.
Yeah, whatever they're called now. But I like the idea of having conversations like this, where we can use even stuff like Twitch. We can use things like Discord. I think that definitely helps with growth within a community as well.
Mm-hmm. So you started in summer 2017. You're one guy. What was your plan?
I didn't have a plan. The only reason I created the business was because I was working a job I didn't like. I wanted to design things, but what I was doing at work was not fulfilling that design itch. Mm-hmm. I was just doing what other people told me to do. I wasn't really getting to do what I wanted to do. So then I was in the keyboard community, and at the time, the production value of basically everything was horrible. Like, nothing was professional. Nothing was done. Everything was done in the minimum it could do. It's a keyboard layout editor screenshot in a Google form on a Keycap thread. Like, I don't even know who the dude is that I'm giving money to.
Yeah.
Like, it was very unprofessional. Like, not to, like, insult the people. That's just kind of how it was. It was so small that that's just how things were done.
Yeah.
So I was like, not that I was actually selling anything worthwhile, but I was like, I just want to create something that just looks better than what people expect, to try to possibly shift the standard of what people should expect from where they're buying things. Which all I sold was t-shirts and stickers with like memes on them. My first product was the Rubber Dome shirt.
Are we going to see any more meme t-shirts in the future?
I've actually become like an old geezer, and I like memes annoy me. I'm just
how
old now.
You don't mind me asking, how old are you again, Dixie?
28.
I feel attacked again. I'm 29. You just said rolled.
I'll be 29 in a few months. But I don't know why.
Next year.
I guess because when you're on Discord all day long and it's just the same memes repeated over and over, it kind of just gets like, okay,
I'll be honest.
Yeah,
like I guess,
even though I started the business on memes.
Yeah, and I guess with meme culture and stuff, it moves too quickly nowadays. Like it's very different than it was before.
I definitely don't think meme products are the way to go, because by the time you get them, you don't care anymore and you're over it.
Are you going to create an Omnitype sticker?
Say that again?
Omnitype. I think that was
Omnitype.
good. Yeah,
that could happen.
That sounds interesting. I'd give one to Clavier.
It still has some branding involved.
Did Clavier just coin that in Discord, or was that other people who said it first?
I've seen it. That's probably the first thing I saw, like the moment it was announced. But yeah, so I just sold stickers that I printed at work. So that was kind of the spark of I could sell things, because we had a sticker printer in my office at my job.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I could just print stickers and sell them. So after work, I would like print them. I'd pay my work to be able to print them, and I'd go home and manually cut them out, like one by one. I used to write like a handwritten note. Say that again?
Like when you're talking to your boss, how'd that conversation go? You're like, listen, let me buy some stickers for you wholesale. I'm going to slang them on my Instagram.
They thought that I was like this little guy, let him do it. But then they kind of got mad because I was selling too many. But they got really mad and stopped letting me do it. So then I had to start buying them somewhere else. But like I used to write handwritten letters in every note, like 2 to 3 sentences to every single person. And eventually I had to stop that, or I would still be shipping like minimal round 1 right now. But I don't know if I ever would have grown at all if me and Janglad hadn't met in a random Slack. It was actually the Slack for the slider. I don't know if y'all remember that on Reddit, but it was the guy who made the keyboard slider that had like the typewriter function, and like it never actually became a thing, but he had a Slack for it with different people to help him out. So we met in that Slack, and he wanted to run 9009 round 2. And he asked me if I wanted to do it, because I guess I was the guy who had a store that he knew. And it ended up selling 500, which at the time was like mind-blowing if you weren't on drop. And we were like, holy crap, like this is insane. I was like, maybe I should keep doing this.
So is that your debut keycap set?
Yeah, that was the first like real product, I would say, besides like t-shirts and stickers that I ran. And back then, like going back to the slowly growing, I was a guy I lived with my mom in my bedroom shipping things. So like I didn't run a key set until the last one had shipped.
Yeah.
So I ran 9009. I waited for it to come in, shipped it, then I ran the next one. So then I ran 9009 Ortho, which didn't sell very many. And then we ran Violet Tendencies, if anybody remembers that one. Which was my first, like, I got a random person I didn't know and ran their design for them.
And that's when maybe someone started going off. You're like, we could actually do these monthly, maybe, or
yeah. And even that one, I waited for that one to ship. So my first 3, I didn't run another one until it was done, because I was like, people need to know that I can do this before I just start taking all their money.
Yeah, which is a good train of, like, that's a good mentality to have too. It's like, it's to prove that you're reliable without,
overbearing
yourself.
I had a huge goal to prove that I could do things better than anyone had ever done them. Not that I don't. That's not up to me to decide that, but that was my goal. So like when 9009 came in, I literally packed every single order over the weekend in 2 days. I was like, I'm gonna ship these faster than anybody's ever shipped them before, because it used to be where people were like, it's been 3 months and the guy hasn't even shipped them all. So I was like, I just want to do it. So, which now it's slowly bit me in the butt, because the more that I got, the longer it takes. So we had like a reputation of shipping really, really fast, and how it kind of takes longer. But we're always just trying to do things the best that we can do them.
Sure.
And it kind of started that way.
Sorry, go on.
No, you go ahead.
I appreciate you, Ragan. A few people saying, thank you for all that, Dixie. That's awesome. Customer service key to success. Yura asks, is there a portfolio that we can look at? I guess you have, Dixie? You have an online portfolio?
For my personal self?
I guess maybe all your projects. Maybe even outside the keyboard world.
I do have a link for the business. I don't have anything worth showing personally.
Okay.
Because I was pretty bad at, I would say myself, at graphic design when I started compared to what I wanted to be. And the business, it's crazy how having projects that mean something will improve. Like when they're like, just make up things and design them for your portfolio. It's like, you have no passion in a fake business that you're just making just to show off. So once I had things that actually people were purchasing, people were like giving feedback on, I could slowly see that I've gotten so much better. Which I'm still not where I think I should be, but as far as from where I was, all my best things to show off are from the business, basically.
Yeah. Stuff that you're proud of too.
So that.
And then we have a question that actually I was going to ask as well, but Steady already knows that's a common thing on this channel here is one thing that you would like to happen in the community this upcoming 2021. What would you like it to be? I guess to expand on that, maybe something that you're going to look forward to, maybe for changes or something you'd like to see happen. And then also to expand on that, maybe something that you saw you didn't quite like this year here and you want to talk about it a bit.
I'd say the obvious is hopefully lead times can come down.
Yeah.
Because as we've already spoken about, could just make everything better in most ways. I am excited for Bauer Lite, just because of how much of a huge challenge it was, and it's just trying to get into that more regular availability, which many other companies are, Rama, Key Company, Novel Keys. So that's definitely going to be a thing, which I think is good, that there's something, even it's not going to be the top high-end things available, but there's something there for people to get. Hopefully, and my plan, whenever they want it or pretty soon after they want it. Mm-hmm. So I think overall in the whole community that we're seeing that shift, or that addition, maybe not shift, but that's being inserted into what people are focusing on.
Yeah.
I don't remember the other part of the question.
Stuff that you look back on that maybe you thought were not fun experiences this year here of the community. Doesn't have to be for yourself, just maybe something you saw that you weren't a fan of that maybe you'd like to see change go forward.
I think that one of my biggest annoyances in the community itself is when, because of how involved just consumers are with the people that actually make things, there's a lot of knowledge about the back end of things that usually aren't there in regular markets. I don't know how this iPhone was made. I know nothing about it. So like, it gives people the illusion that they know everything. So I see a ton of like toxicity on the internet with people like, no, you're wrong because of this. But that because of this is only like 20% of the knowledge. And it's just a huge peeve of mine that people, they get a teeny tiny bite of the information and they're like,
run with it.
I know everything.
Yeah.
So, which obviously sounds elitist coming from my point of view, but it's just kind of annoying. It's like, I don't know.
So I guess with that being said, maybe as a community, I guess that's more of like a personal thing though, because that's like a personal trait that someone would have. But the only thing that I'm a big, Yeah, I do see that in some cases too, especially with things like combating preferences, stuff like that between people.
Yeah.
One thing that I've always been a firm believer in is having knowledge or having some sort of documentation or something that we can always refer back to. For example, I'm the same way. You have a website in the business too, and same with Ragan, or you probably have like an FAQ page. I'm in agreement. I love FAQ pages. I think they're great. One thing that I always really like is when I see a common question, not to just make like an FAQ on it, but create some sort of answer that can subsidize, I guess, the amount of questions that I would get asked for something. So
Yep.
maybe that could be something, when it comes to knowledge, or I don't know, for example, I see a lot of like switch type, not arguments, but debates.
Yeah.
So that could be something too. Maybe there'd be a better database. I mean, like we've seen people like when Theremin Goat has a website, which is pretty good for that now. There's a lot of other websites with lots of knowledge. So I can definitely say that makes, that makes a lot of sense to have that. But again, for people who are reading that stuff, it does make sense to not take that knowledge and just be, a giant about it. There's no need to be.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. I don't know if you've seen a lot of people. There's a lot of people on Reddit for some reason specifically that they'll go get them a quote from Alibaba, from the cheapest keyboard manufacturer on earth, and they're like, "Look, they quoted me $75. They're scamming everyone. It only costs $75 to make a keyboard. They're selling it for $800." And everyone's like, "Oh my gosh!" And it's like, that is not right. Like, no. So that's more of what I was, just information that isn't even supposed to be public knowledge, that you really only know if you need to know it to use it.
Yeah. Imagine like calling out a surgeon and being like, they'll do the operation for like $200 in this app over here.
And there's one thing too that I've been seeing a lot of, and I know I've spoken about this, and I know a few other people have spoken about this as well. There's just like, I don't know where this came from, but I saw this pop up a lot recently. It's this idea that designers should get paid like $0 for their product.
Yeah, you're a bad person if you make money.
Yeah, like that whole mentality. And I think that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, how do you expect that person to design and make a living if they can't make a living? Like, why does everything always get like flagged as this is not worth the money because X materials went in it and I know the amount of parts and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, keyboards are only worth the amount of the raw materials.
Yeah.
That everyone knows that.
Yeah, like if that was the case, I guarantee you that like if this was like a real thing, that things like Yeezys and all these other big products that are worth, basically nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree it's all perceived value. I think that I think it's dangerous to get into a spot where we kind of slap on the wrist a designer who says like, I'd like a little bit of money for something that I worked on and put labor into.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you ask that person who says that, would you take a pay cut at your job, or would you do this for free?
Yeah.
Like, no, you wouldn't.
Also,
so why should this person?
Yeah, but consumers should look at the MSRP of an item and realize 15 to 22% of that goes to federal taxes. You've got 6 to 8% going to state taxes monthly. You've got employer tax. You've got
import fees are freaking huge right now.
Import fees. Yeah, tariff.
Shipping has tripled during COVID.
Rent. How about utilities and all
free, bro.
Vendors?
Free.
Yeah, no doubt. And then after all that, I mean, I'm the last. I mean, I know it's not good business practice, but I'm definitely the last person to get paid at my own business. Like, I make sure everyone else is taken care of first too. So, like, there's a lot of these factors that you may or may not seem like a douche if you pull the curtain out and be like, hey, like all these numbers, but it's like you got to look at an MSRP and not think that is literally 100% going into the wallet of a vendor. Like, I mean, it's mostly like, I would literally say like most of everything is getting reinvested into being able to do our jobs like easier, or, I don't know, just other aspects, just reinvesting.
Yeah.
And I don't like talking about it, but it's like, at what point do you just let people keep saying false information? And at what point do you kind of go in and be like, no, it's not right, but like, I don't want to be like acting like I'm trying to like.
And I think of the big thing, and someone actually kind of really hit the nail on the head, where it's this veil and misconception that people are doing everything for the community. And I think that does get kind of spoken about a lot. Like, this is for the community. I'm doing this for the passion of a community, which I think you're more than welcome to do something. And if you want to do something like that, by all means. But I do think there is an aspect where if we want to see, like, if people want to see more cool things get made, then there has to be a reason why people are making them, other than just doing it for a goodwill and stuff like that. I think, you know, as someone who does impressions and, you know, some reviews for some products as well, I have to kind of look past some of the cost of what the person did for designing. And yes, I do look at value of things. But I strongly think that without having these people get paid, like, stuff won't get produced. Like, it's not everyone's gonna have like a good day and be like, hey, I'm making money elsewhere. I can feed my family and pay the bills just by doing something else. I'm gonna do this for fun today. I'd
still be making stickers.
Yeah,
if we didn't get paid.
It's just a mentality that I've been seeing a lot of comments, like not in big, maybe some in the bigger discords, but like in some discords, some online, some you know, outside friends, stuff like that, where they just don't understand why something is priced some way. And you're free to think that way, like 110%. And we have great new products from a lot of new vendors that are entry level. We have amazing things that are, you know, considered a little bit more luxury, boutique, if you will. But I don't know. I just think that it's, you know, it's dangerous to think that people should get paid nothing for what they do. Not saying that anyone in chat thinks that way, by the way. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting conversation. Common misconception from a buyer's perspective. I'm not a business owner, but I understand cost to a degree. Yeah, totally. So we can say that if it's for profit, it can be for profit. I just don't get why every product is a crowdfunding project. Like a $5 desk mat is a Kickstarter project at zero risk. You have to also, and to play devil's advocate metric, some vendors, like if something ends up kicking off and, you know, people want something, some people, and maybe not every vendor in the world, but if it's a smaller project from someone who doesn't have the capital to do so, that's where that would come into. And again, not saying that bigger vendors or anything like that are at that risk at this point here, because I don't know the answer to that. But you know, for smaller people, or just maybe, you know, a group of people who want to run a cool design and they want to vendor their own product, yeah, that's where that Kickstarter project can come into. And it's not always zero risk. I think that's another misconception too. Where there are two, let them answer. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think for things like a desk pad?
I don't consider desk pads group buys ever, because like there's not like you have to buy 500 of them to make it happen. At least because we buy so many regularly, my relationship is if someone's running a desk pad, I'll just it's going to happen. There's no risk. I only label them group buy because they're side by side with a key set, and it gets confusing if one is not your group buy and one is. So just trying to keep the language the same across.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, desk pads.
I mean,
yeah, I guess if a guy's doing it all by himself and he has no relationship and they do give him a minimum, and he doesn't have money, yeah, for a desk pad, no. I started a fulfillment thing, which we've done a couple times for people who want to run a key set that they know isn't going to sell 500 to 1,000, that will just do everything for them as far as fulfillment.
Yeah. Yeah, and I saw that you did that, and to also say too, metric, there has been a lot of people who have been doing in stock products. It's something that we're seeing come out of its, I guess, infancy. Like, I know, Ragan, aren't you going to be doing in stock stuff soon too for desk pads? Yes, and I know Dixie Mech carries in stock as well.
We have a whole shipping container coming.
Yeah,
completely full from front to back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna post a picture of 2 shipping containers and then at you.
I'm gonna get 3, bro. Healthy competition between vendors pushes everyone to better
and I think
100%.
competition is very healthy. It's very healthy. Yeah. But I mean, even with other things too, we're seeing a lot of good changes, and that's the biggest thing. The most that I can ever ask anyone in the world for anything is to have some sort of understanding and, I guess, empathy to some degree, because I think that's a good practice to have. And obviously you should hold people accountable. Obviously there's things that maybe don't work that you can criticize and talk about. But I do think that always with anything anyone does, there has to be at least a little bit of empathy and compassion because we don't know everyone's story. We're all human beings at the end of the day. I know there was a lot of more, I guess, business speak today. I can definitely say that, but everyone's a human being at the end of the day. That's what it is. There's some bad people, there's some good people, but that's the most I can ever ask you. Amazon is the best keyboard vendor. I mean, they have been carrying a lot of products. Like Dixie/Space will be like Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Who's who? Who's who?
It's not for me to decide.
Chat, who's who?
I know I'm not a huge jacked man, as Hugh Jackman is.
I don't know. That's tough. I think Ryan Reynolds might be.
Maz FX asks for any plans for proxy. Okay, I do need to say this on the internet where it's recorded for people to watch. All the desk pads that we have designed, floral, skull, dual shot, all the ones that we've designed ourselves that weren't like a third-party designer that we're running, we make available for all of our proxies to purchase whenever they want. So it's their choice on whether they want to order them. So if you want them, ask them.
There you go.
Sorry. I have people every day like, when's the Mechamat going to be in Europe? And I'm like, it could be anytime. But that's not for me to decide. I can't force it on them. Buy 1,000 of these. So I just be like, hey, you can buy this whenever you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. Just ordered Durox tabs from a decent price. I mean, yeah, I've been seeing a lot of stabilizers on Amazon. It's from like a company called like Zug Gear. I actually bought one just to see how they were. I mean, they looked fine. I don't know too much about if I don't know the legitimacy of them, so I couldn't really comment, guys. I'm sorry. Dixie 8008 inks. Oh yeah, I forgot about those. Those are gonna be nice.
They're supposed to ship soon.
Yeah.
From Gatoron.
Zug Gear's Durox.
Hopefully.
That's great to know. Thanks for the response. There you go.
Let's see. So you are jumping back just quickly to the original questions. You started in 2017. You're one person. Did you think you would get this big? And like, what is your kind of size of scale looking at right now?
No, I never thought I'd be this big. Which, if you read that rebranding thing, the first paragraph is kind of about that I didn't really put much thought into things that you would if you thought you would be where we are now. Mm-hmm. I thought on hobby scale, side gig scale. So at the moment, it's me and my wife full time, which it should be probably 5 to 6 people, but we haven't. So we're just doing it all.
Damn.
Which this year, we purchased a house to use as an office that had a very large shop next to it that we use as our warehouse. So we have like 5,000 square feet right now. And we've basically maxed it out on how we can use it. When this shipping container comes in, there's going to be like 0 room left. So we're looking, and hopefully this next year, we're going to buy a plot of land and build a custom building. It is how we need it to be. And we can be on that plot of land and expand as far as we need to. So the plan is to set something up where we don't have to keep moving. We can just add on should we need to. So that's in the plan. So hopefully, we're trying to get that going. There's like so many steps in that sort of thing that I don't even know. So I'm like having to learn it all and ask people. So then with that will come employees. We're attempting to hold out until that's done so that there's a more legit professional environment for whoever's working for us, so that they don't have to come and just like pack orders in the quote unquote living room of this house. If we can hold off, I would like for that, whoever those people are, to be able to have an actual work environment and not possibly feel a little weird.
I know. I can imagine that just being like, oh, I'm at someone's home today. Like,
I mean, I don't think it looks like a house on the inside because there's no, there's not a couch or like a TV. Like, it's very much a business, but I could still see that, like, when you get here, it's just a yard with some garages and a driveway. So
yeah, it's the appearance on the outside, right?
Yeah, when it was just us two, it's perfectly fine, but we kind of grew out of it way faster than we thought. So definitely employees in 2021. Hopefully, new location, new building.
Would you,
so that we can have infinite scale as far as we need to go, is kind of the plan.
Yeah.
would you see it to be something like maybe even a storefront dubbing as, or just?
I've had so many people want that. I don't see that as something we would want to do because I don't know, one, being in the outskirts of the farmland of Alabama, on how many people would really be coming to buy something.
Yeah.
And two, the products that we are buying are so expensive and so niche market that even if they did come, they're not going to walk out with a $500 keyboard, even if I had it available.
Right. I guess maybe not like design it based on you need to survive off of any sort of walk-in traffic, but like,
oh, you mean like have a counter?
I could see a little like lobby thing. If you wanted to buy something and come in, you could if you were in town. I could definitely see that happening.
Didn't someone do that somewhere where they had like a storefront?
I can't remember how to pronounce it. In Japan, there's a legit store with a bunch of products.
Yeah,
I've been trying to get our desk pads over there, so if anybody wants them in that store from Japan, let them know.
Yeah, Linux. It was in Russia too. Like I know there's stuff in Japan, but it was in Russia or something.
Yeah, there was one in Russia. It was that really cool like brick room.
Yeah. I remember that one.
I remember it.
That was cool. Limited Run does that.
I think it would be cool.
Mechanist is doing it right now. Mechanist is making a showroom or something? That's cool. That's awesome. What is the store name in Japan? I don't know, to be honest. Mega.
Someone commented, I think, up there. I think that'd be really cool to kind of have like a showroom-esque area. Like,
I was actually thinking about that today when I'm trying to figure out how this office space is going to be laid out. Like, will we have like a display of all the kind of things that we make?
I think that'd be really cool.
When Bauer Light is happening, you can actually have a few of them sitting there if someone wants to pick up. But with that comes like, I have to have an employee that's always ready to sell something when someone walks in. So is it worth the money to pay that person to just be sitting there for that one person a month that walks in?
It would have to be like someone, like not like a front desk person, but someone that's like kind of got a bunch of hats on that can also walk up front and kind of talk to someone who walks in.
Well, Pylon just had a great idea. Switch vending machine, easy peasy. That'd be cool. Pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. It is reaching.
That would be pretty cool.
It would be pretty cool. You put in like a few bucks, you put in your credit card, whatever, and pack of 70 switches comes out.
And it pops out in an aluminum can. So then you could use a traditional vending machine.
That's actually kind of cool.
I said it, dibs.
All right, look. Split the
we'll share it.
We are reaching our hour and 45-minute mark, guys. If you guys had any quick last questions, probably take like one or two more. And then we're gonna call it for tonight. We're gonna wrap it up. We tend to keep these under 2 hours. Usually we stay an hour and a half, but we had some fun talking. We have a question from Rusty Panda TV. Has there ever been any thought given to a greater distribution mech vendor like Best Buy or Micro Center? Interesting.
I've had the thought in my head. Not that I want to sell boards in Best Buy. That is not something that I'm like pushing to try to get. Like I'm not going to at the moment be pitching them products. But if Best Buy were to come to me and say, hey, we want to buy this many to put on our shelves, I'm going to say yes.
That'd be cool.
Because that would be awesome outreach for your brand. But that's not something that I'm like pursuing and putting time into attempting to get.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be cool.
And then Mr. Petrov says, I can't pronounce any of this. I'm so sorry. Gervais? God. Or Larry David. I don't know what that means. Ricky
Gervais?
It's definitely Larry David if I'm choosing between the two.
100%. Can you ask him if he's ever going to do a rerun of 8008 Inc. or extras?
Yeah, we'll have a ton of extras. I ordered a ton. So once all the group buys ship, we'll have a bunch available.
Someone said, imagine Wilba PCBs in a Micro Center. I think any like custom stuff and like we don't have Micro Center here in Canada, so I'm gonna use Canada computers. If we had like custom keyboard stuff, like it'd be definitely accessible. I don't think it's accessible or realistic at the moment with COVID still going on, but it'd be really fucking cool. You know, like Tanhil, it sells out in 10 minutes probably. Planning on making his own Omnitype switch. Ooh.
I mean, not just to say I did it. I'm not someone that just wants to make something just to say that there's a switch. 8 ink kind of was just the switch I wanted. It was the ink housing with the yellow spring, my two favorite things put together in a stock package
Cool.
in the 8008 colorway. So that was just kind of technically that's a custom switch that hasn't existed.
Mm-hmm.
Gumball
So
machine.
we'll call that the one.
I think you guys hit someone, like, who was it again that said something about the vending machines? Got everyone talking about it now. But I think that's it, guys. We're gonna wrap up here. Thank you very, very much, Dixie Mech. Did you have any last comments that you wanted to make before we end it off here?
I don't think so. Besides, thanks for having me on.
No worries.
It was fun.
It was a pleasure.
Thanks for coming on. Yeah.
Space Kibbles, Mr. Ragan, did you have anything else you want to ask? Note, jot down.
I think
How's the hotel room?
Fuck you. That's this. They haven't come to this pillow over here.
Does it not look like he's in a hotel room?
802 and 8082 space cables. That's what you should do.
Ooh. You gotta buy the keycaps though.
Thank you guys all so much for in chat for subs and follows. I appreciate all of you guys, the great conversations that we had. Thank you very much. We will see who we can raid. Let's see. I don't know who we can raid. I don't actually know who streams Sunday nights. I feel like it's always random. Let us see. Who's doing some keyboard stuff? Let's see. Check makers and crafting. Do you have any plans after this, guys?
Me?
I'm gonna go back to messing around with office layouts. That's what I was doing all day. Just like tinkering.
Bueno's on? Let's raid Bueno.
Editing photos, probably.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing right now. But all right, guys, there you guys go. You guys have a great night. I will talk to you guys probably tomorrow. I'll do another stream then. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Chase is on a little vacation right now, so he'll probably have this VOD up on YouTube. I don't know when. I don't know when Chase is coming back exactly. I forgot to ask him that. I'm a bad friend. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Enjoy Bueno's stream, and take care, everybody.
See y'all.
Peace.